Who's your commander?
Good luck.
Equip.
Move to combat. Resolves.
Right.
Now, before you attack
Does
me,
anyone have an answer?
well played.
Good game.
Hello everyone, my name is DJ, this is the Jumbo Commander YouTube channel, and we have a new spoiler card from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. This set is not coming out for a while, but we've got an early treat. And this card is so much fun. Let's take a closer look at a commander deck with Hidetsugu Devouring Chaos. Hidetsugu is 3 and a black for a 4/4 legendary ogre demon. Black, sacrifice a creature, scry 2. 2 and a red, tap, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. When you exile a non-land card this way, Hidetsugu Devouring Chaos deals damage equal to the exiled card's mana value to any target. If the name sounds familiar, this is related to Heartless Hidetsugu, which is a commander staple. And the new Hidetsugu is going to be really fun. I'm especially excited about that activated ability. In fact, I think that we should stack this deck full of the biggest spells and top deck manipulations so we can just tap this guy and deal a ton of damage wherever we want. So let's stack the deck, burn people out. Let's start off with some of the big spells that we're going to hit people with. Of course, we can always just put big spells we want to play in here, but the best spells are going to have a high mana value, but they're not actually going to cost that much. For example, Emrakul the Promised End is 13 mana, but you might cast it for around 9 or so, which is still a lot of mana. Other cards like Blasphemous Act are easily cast for a single red. Curtain's Call gets reduced by 3. Greater Gargadon is a huge creature, but a lot of times you just suspend it for a single red mana. Cauldron of Eternity is another type of spell that gets cheaper and cheaper. Same thing as a card like Chandra's Incinerator. So if we look at cards that get cheaper naturally, we're going to have a huge converted mana cost on the top of our deck, but actually we'll be able to smoothly play the cards that we need to. I really like split cards because Never to Return and Insult to Injury, those are really 3 mana spells that we're going to be casting, but the mana value when we're using our commander is 6 and 7. That's a big boost. We've even beefed up the mana value of our lands with double face cards. You know, Zoph's Conscription is a 6 mana spell. And actually, I wouldn't mind casting it too, because we're going to be threatening our opponent's life total in this deck a lot. Now, with all these big spells in our deck, we are going to want some level of redundancy, not just relying on our commander. I'm a big fan of Atali Primal Storm to be able to actually cast these big spells off the top of our deck. Twilight Prophet, you reveal a big spell, you know, just like your commander and deal a ton of damage. Sin Prodder, people aren't going to be taking damage, you're just going to be drawing an extra card off of that one. Baneful Omen is expensive if you flip it over, but also if you ever resolve it, you're just going to be dealing a ton of damage to people over and over again. And if you're resolving spells, Vile Smasher the Fierce is going to deal a lot of damage too. Any incidental damage that we have is going to be important because our commander is like direct damage right on there. One important thing to note is that we don't really need that many big spells in our deck, because if we have enough top deck manipulation, then we can just get there. Tutors like Vampiric Tutor, Scheming Symmetry, Vargoth, Imperial Seal, Liliana Vess, all of these will put a big card right on top of our library, and then our commander can shoot it at our opponents. Built into the commander is the ability to scry cards and put exactly what we want on top, but cards like Brainstone, Sensei's Divining Top, and Scroll Rack, all of them will be able to help us manipulate the top of our library. And top deck manipulation is going to be more important in this deck than just what the commander does, because if I'm playing Emrakul and Greater Gargadon, I'm not always going to want to draw them, so a scry, even when my commander's not on the battlefield, to get those big mana value cards out of the way is really good. It's going to be like drawing a card. And of course, if we have a lot of ways to put things back on top of our library, scroll rack, things like that, then shuffle effects become really good, so pay attention to that. And top deck manipulation comes with a lot of perks. I love miracles, and so we get to play Reforge the Soul and reliably have a Wheel of Fortune at not Wheel of Fortune prices, which is great. There's one miracle card in black, and that's Entreat the Dead, and that could be fine in this deck too. Of course, activating my commander enough times to actually kill each one of my opponents is going to be rough. Like 120 damage, that's not something that can easily happen. Of course, we can try to make this happen faster and more reliably by untap effects and haste effects, like 1000-Year Elixir is one of the best ones. I actually like cutting that damage in a quarter by implementing Infect. Just a grafted exoskeleton on your commander can end the game very quickly. You don't have to aim all this damage at your opponent. You can aim it at creatures, keep the battlefield clear. You can even give your commander Death Touch to be able to kill anything you want. I mean, Basilisk Caller is going to be a classic in this, but also Shadow Sphere, because getting Lifelink is going to be really good too, because it can help you win races. This also means that you could fill your deck full of pingers and Heartless Hidetsugu itself, because that ends up being really good too. And of course, if you're taking out creatures, I would love to have Toralf in this deck, because Toralf will let you chain take out creatures, which is going to be really good. I also like that Neheb the Eternal, because if we're aiming a ton of damage at certain places, we can turn damage into mana, and damage builds up. So just having your commander tap and untap is not going to be able to get you to killing people. If you start doubling up your damage with Fiendish Duo or Angrath's Marauders, if you start taxing your opponents with cards like Chandra Awakened Inferno or God Pharaoh's Statue, then it means that the damage that you do with your commander becomes that much more relevant. All of the damage matters, and it means that damage in the later game can be more relevant. If you're playing like Cut to Ribbons or Torment of Hailfire, it can have a bigger impact the lower your opponent's life total is. This can especially be true if you're playing Aristocrats effects. Blood Artist and other Aristocrats are great with this because your commander has a sacrifice outlet on it, which means that you'll always have access to it. In the deck list down below, there's not a lot of Aristocrat strategies because I think that there are other decks that do a little bit better. But there are a few ways that we can manipulate that sacrifice outlet. For example, if we run a Zealous Conscripts, I love how flexible it is, but also you can steal something and sacrifice it for your own benefit. I like that synergy, and you might like it too. So, why do I like this deck? Well, I like it because top deck manipulation is fun. It's fun to burn people out and throw damage around. Infect is also a really interesting strategy, along with other ways to sort of death touch or lifelink your way to victory. Dealing damage everywhere is exciting, and when people are feeling their life total go down and down and down, it brings an urgency and an excitement to a game of Commander that often I don't see as people just durdle around in their decks. And I know that people are going to be scared of Hidetsugu because they're going to see it activate and see it slam into someone for 10, 13 damage and get petrified of what this card can do. And I like that dynamic in Commander. Let me know how you would build Hidetsugu Devouring Chaos. I'd like to thank my sponsor, Cool Stuff Inc. If you want to buy your cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. And if you use the coupon code JUMBO5, you'll save 5% off your order. I also want to thank my patrons. They're amazing. They support me every day. Thank you, patrons. And thank you for watching this video. I didn't expect to do a Kamigawa Neon Dynasty deck tech right now, but hopefully you liked it. Let me know. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.